Guilty Until Proven Innocent brings you prominent advocate and former civil rights attorney Ron Haley, alongside prominent advocate and former NAACP President Eugene Collins, as they tackle hard-hitting issues like only they can. Hard truths, bold voices. Let's talk about it.
So welcome to Guilty Until Proven Innocent. I'm Eugene Collins, alongside my co-host, Ron Haley.
Eugene, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing fantastic.
Listen, before we get into everything, I don't know if it's an omen or not. How in the hell, for our first episode, your car ran out of gas? And you're supposed to shoot this second episode on Sunday, and I had two flat tires.
But Haley, as we start this podcast, give folks what this podcast is about. I know it's only the second episode, so we might need to remind them again.
Listen, so we came up with the name Guilty Until Proven Innocent. Essentially, this is where public perception does not always mean reality. And again, I didn't believe we were in the alternate universe this weekend when I'm the one that had car trouble.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about that is we had a whole range of topics that we're going to talk about on Sunday, and that we didn't get to do Sunday, and we're prepping to do it Monday or Tuesday, working everything. We couldn't get around to it. And everything has changed within the last 48 hours that we actually scrapped most of the first show, or most of the second show, to catch people up on what's going on currently in our world.
But Haley, jumping right into this Shannon Sharpe issue, right?
Man, look, bro, Shannon's my guy. I don't know him, but I'm a big fan. I was a fan of him when he played in the league, but became a bigger fan of him as he expanded and really made a brand for himself outside of the league. Many people tried to do it. He actually did it, and still doing it. And I hope he does still continue. But I was saddened to hear that ESPN let Brother Sharpe go on yesterday.
Yeah, and Haley, that brings up a conversation, right? Because when you look at that particular case with Shannon Sharpe, right, he settled it. He settled that case at $20 million.
Well, let me cut you off on there. I'm not sure he settled at 20. Anytime, I think folks are throwing figures out. The fact that he put out there it was 10, and they're assuming it may be 20. She wanted 50. Nobody knows. Nobody's ever going to know, because in settlements like this, these things are confidential.
Yeah.
There'll be a public statement that goes out that the case has been resolved. I believe their attorneys place that out there, but nobody's ever going to know the number. The number could be 10, the number could be 12, it could be 20, it could be 100, or it could be 1 million. Any one of those numbers will retire somebody from OnlyFans. So the fact that she posted on it that she retired doesn't mean that the number is over $10 million.
Yeah, that's not what it means at all. And in those cases, I'm glad you brought up that point. It often comes with a gag order. But when you start settling in the millions, whether it was 5, 10, or 15 or 20, you did something that you thought she was going to get some money off of, right? So let me admit that first, right? Like, something happened that wasn't supposed to happen, or you wouldn't agree to pay that. You just said, let's fight it, let's take it to court, right?
Well, I disagree with that.
Okay, why?
So you could decide not to fight because of the residual effects that would happen to people that are not you.
I get that.
So if it's just me and I'm the person taking the brunt of it, 100% of it, hell, I may be in it for the fight all the way to the end. But if I'm thinking about employees, staff, if I'm thinking about corporate sponsors, I'm thinking about other jobs that I have that are affected by this, and the people that actually work those jobs, I may decide to take the bullet for it, because essentially I put myself in that position, but I don't want the position that I put myself in to affect people that had nothing to do with it. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but there are circumstances where someone would do it. The mistake that was made was putting out there that you offered $10 million to begin with, because then that put the public perception that something, like you said, something must have happened that you did not want to get out. When you put a figure out there like, listen, she is money hungry, we offered 10 million, she rejected it, and now we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it tooth and nail to the end, to the truth come out, only to cave later on. And again, we don't know if she caved on the number or he caved and gave more money on it, but the perception is, the public perception is the fact that he got finessed, and he paid a lot of money to shut this lady up.
So the brother did get finessed. Let's say that, right? He got finessed to the highest of finessivity. But at the same time, when you look at it, And I agree with your points because I have worked with people where I told them, hey, rather than take on the public perception that's come, whether it's true or false, just pay the money, right? Just go ahead and pay them.
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
It's the juice worth the squeeze at the end of the day. But, let's just say that he did do something wrong, right? Let's just say he did do something right. He didn't do anything wrong, for that matter. In today's day and time, when you look at dating, especially if you got some stuff to lose, you got some money, you got some stuff saved for your kids, you got some property and stuff like that, you got something to actually lose. Should signing an NDA be a standard part of just dating these days? I mean, because I ain't gonna lie, I keep a stack of NDAs like under my seat, because I got the Jeep, so it's under the seat. You ain't got the trunk no more. I keep a stack of NDAs for people that I engage with personally. And like, I ain't gonna lie, I pull them out for some family members that start asking too many questions, right? But should that just be a standard in social relationships now? If we're dealing with each other, we're telling each other stuff, we're sharing business with each other, like, should an NDA just be standard in this time?
I think possibly it should be, depending upon the circumstance. You're looking at how everyone is looking. I don't want to say everyone. There's a segment of society that uses social media in the negative, not to promote, not to uplift, but to just be fucking messy.
Yeah. Just
for the sake of being messy, whether the mess involves them or somebody else or somebody they don't even fucking know. That is what has, you look at what's being put out there, right? Things that are going on in the bedroom that is nobody's business, is now up for anybody on social media to look at. If one disgruntled person or a friend of disgruntled person or a family member of disgruntled person or an employee that's disgruntled with you, if they get the drop on some things that you have going on, with the click of a button, could completely rearrange your damn life. And so, yeah, to assert for a layer of protection is damn near like insurance. But the problem is, what does it? An NDA is only worth it if you're actually able to collect. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you're messing around with somebody that's making $12 an hour, there's nothing wrong with somebody making $12 an hour. It's nothing at all. You can fall in love. You can be a millionaire, fall in love with somebody making $12 an hour. Love can find places it knows no sex, gender, creed. It knows no economic balance or imbalance. But if you are a $50 million guy or woman and dating a $50,000 man or woman, and you're like, listen, you signed this NDA. If you violate it, I'm going to sue you for defamation of character, slander, and all that shit. And you get a $15 million judgment for messing up your $10 million contract with this network. Are you ever really going to be able to collect from that?
So you're right, Haley. You're right. But does it not add a whole nother layer of comfort? It does add some like accountability to that person to know that they signed an NDA. Like
it does. No, it does.
Yeah.
But if you're not equally yoked or close to being equally yoked, it's less of a sting, right? Mm-hmm. If we're talking about two professional athletes that are dating one another, that are in this same economic bracket, mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that definitely that layer of protection is more powerful, I think, if the economic imbalance isn't there.
So we look at it as Shannon Sharpe, but what I'm saying is, like, in today's time, if you got two successful middle class black professionals, right, or just professionals in general, and they decide to date one another, I believe they should sign NDAs with each other. Because I don't want to read about her business on social media. I don't want to read about his business on social media. Like,
I agree with that.
Should NDAs just be signed from the very beginning? And I had somebody that was offended one time that I asked him to sign an NDA, and I had to explain, like, hey, this is just for my protection, it's for your protection, it's for our protection, right? Because, like my granddad always told me, teeth and tongue fall out, right? And you don't want to have to rebuild something, damage control something from a broken relationship that has nothing to do with your career, but now it's on Instagram and it's definitely affecting your career, right? Or it's affecting your viability or your professionalism, especially when you make money based on public perception, right? So it's not even about the income in the moment, but the future income. And when I look at Shannon's situation, I'm like, does this dude not have any good advisors or any loyal friends that stopped him and said, "Hey, you need an NDA with this chick." Like somebody should have stopped and said, "Hey, y'all got to sign some papers at this second." I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I mean, well, the question is, does anybody know he was dealing with this woman?
Yeah.
I mean, so we're assuming that that's what the case is, but we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I think with Shannon, and again, I hate what happened to him because I believe he's a good dude, and everybody's had their jokes about him, how he fumbled the bag. Look, we don't know how much money Shannon got. It may have not been anything for him to write this check to her. However, what I found, here's another mistake, Eugene, that I think he made, or his team made, whoever was advising made. The idea that because you are older, the idea that you have the bag, that you have the money, that there is a Grand Canyon economic gap between you and the person that you're dealing with, that you are always in the position of power in a relationship.
Good point.
And I'm sorry, based on the text messages that were released, that Shannon's team released, Shannon was not in the position of power in this relationship. If your girlfriend, that she classified herself, this is in her petition, I was in a relationship with Shannon since I was 19, 20 years old for the past 4 or 5 years, sends you a picture of her in a provocative pose and saying, "Listen, I need $25,000 for each cheek." And your response is, "Only got $10,000 in cash in the house." I believe that was a true statement. I don't think that was role play at that point.
I don't.
And so, even though she is 25, 26 years his junior, who was really in control of this particular relationship? There are other relationships that are out there. Look at Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Bill Belichick
and,
is not
and
in
Jordan.
of power.
Do we think that Bill Belichick is in a position of power in that relationship?
Absolutely not. And hey, let me say this, like, because
and that's because there's one thing more powerful than money.
Hey, but it is undefeated. But let me say this to the folks out there, especially the young people. Like, before you start sexting or sending photos or sending videos, that stuff happens in relationships. Get some stuff signed. Like, and it is not abnormal. It is not uncool. It is not offensive to ask. Like, hey, I'm gonna need you to sign this paperwork that you're not gonna share this, or you're not gonna share these messages, because you can't trust the fact that people just walk.
And if they push back on it, then that shows you that they may have some intentions down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That they want some insurance for themselves. That they don't want you to be protected means they have other ill intentions. Maybe that's a better way to say it. No,
you're exactly right. And I was talking to a young man that was going through a situation, right? And he had sent some very risque text messages to somebody that was making TikTok videos out of him, right? And he was in a position where he had just graduated college. He was going into a really, really good field, and it cost him about $140,000 job out of school, right? And I'm like, brother, in the future, you got to get some paperwork. I ain't telling you how to act or how to live your life, but you got to get some paperwork. And we have to start telling people that, because I'm gonna tell you, black folks, we don't think that way. The other side do, but we don't think that way. You got to get paperwork. You got to get things signed. It's got to be on the letter. It's got to be on the law. Especially if it's especially, let's just keep it real. If you know it's just somebody you having fun with, this ain't necessarily your husband. Y'all having a blast, but this ain't necessarily your wife. Still get some stuff in black and white so that you don't have to read that on social media down the line. Or you don't have to worry about this stuff seeping into the public.
Or at least there's consequences if it is come out there.
It is consequences. Or you don't have to worry about, a bad breakup on the T-app, right? Because you have something in place to at least make that person think twice before they do something like that. And then I also think about this, like, we know the kind of work we engage in, right? Man, just eardropping on the wrong conversation, you might have already gotten too much information, right? So you put something in place just for that fact, right? Just because, and like, again, it doesn't say that you don't trust that person, because people say, well, if somebody asks you to sign an NDA, then they don't trust you. Prenup, they don't trust you. No, that's protection. That's protection for both sides. So you don't have to worry about that down the line, right? and put it in place for both people. And in Shannon's situation, I just didn't think that was covered. I can't believe he didn't cover it. And I wonder, like, do we really need to stop and educate people, especially folks that look like us, that this should just be something standard, that this is something that should happen in relationships, should happen in social engagements, should happen with your friends. Because we all know how it is. You go on a girl's trip, you go on a boys' trip, stuff y'all do out there kind of make it back to the stateside, right? If you got the NDAs in place, they can't do that stuff. So,
well, at least I want to be clear, though. They can still do it, but there's legal consequences for them doing so.
Yeah.
So, the next thing we want to talk about, Gene, pertains to folks going wild.
Yeah.
But before we get to folks going wild, we have a dynamic group of ladies that are here with us tonight to discuss a back to school program that I think is important to promote on our platform, to get folks involved, so that this year, and I think this may be this inaugural year that they're doing it, but that after this year, it's looking to grow and grow and grow. And proud to have them here today, and I'm proud to speak with them. Thank you for inviting them, Eugene. Had the pleasure of meeting them before the show started, and they gave us an idea, or a hint. I'm saying idea, a hint of what their program is about. It's about giving back to children. It's about giving back to single families. It's about giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Especially at the time when the school year starts. We do know that it's very hard, especially if you don't have the means. If you fall behind early, it's so hard to catch up. So to make sure that we have kids and families starting at level, not starting from behind. It's not about putting somebody ahead, but getting folks level. Go so far into child care and child education development, which is a passion of mine as well.
And man, let me tell you, even if you if you got it all together, but these kids and these chaps, they expensive. Everybody need a little help. So you see somebody helping single parents, or single moms especially, like that's huge, because I be feeling like I'm in a bad relationship with Southern Lab. I give them all my money and I get good kids out, it's a lot, right? So this is a pretty cool initiative, and I'm excited to talk to these ladies. So we're gonna go ahead and bring these ladies in, and that's gonna be a part of the next segment.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
So, listen, first, I know your name, but I want you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, my name is Kenesha Johnson. I'm a co-founder of Dream in Demand, which is a nonprofit organization.
Okay, so when does organization start?
We started it in January of this year.
So we talking about new.
Yes, new.
So whatever we're doing right now is inaugural.
Yes, it is.
Groundbreaking.
Yes,
The foundation.
it is.
And so after this year, next year's will be bigger.
Oh, yes, we plan to make it bigger and bigger.
And the next year bigger after that.
Yes,
And the next year bigger after that.
Yes.
So let's tell the audience, our collective audience, what is going on with you right now?
Okay, right now we've launched a back to school drive where we pooled our own money to give away a spray ground backpack and are you talking about that, or you want to know like why we started it?
No, I want to talk about that.
Yes, and we're giving away $100 gift card to Kids Foot Locker.
Okay, that's awesome. So y'all putting your own money into this.
Yes, that's why we're looking for sponsors so we can help more families. But we just know what our kids like, and we want to provide kids with what our kids have.
I think it's very important, especially when school starts.
Yes.
Right, that everybody starts at an equal playing field. That everybody has the school supplies. Everybody has the clothes they need for school, because they go hand in hand.
Yes.
It's a shame that we have single parents out there that have to make a determination of whether or not to get school supplies or make sure my child or our children dress and look appropriate to go to school. And so I think it's so important to try to get those who need help, not getting in front of the starting line, but just to get at the starting line where everyone else is at.
That's very important.
Why is that important to you?
It's important because I've been there. I was the single parent. but I did have help from my parents. And I came to my sister one day and I was like, it would be so cool if other people can experience what we've experienced as single parents. A lot of people don't have that help, and we've had that help when we were when I was a single parent to provide my child with what he needed. And I know it's a lot of other parents, single parents. Like, single parents are not just moms, you know, it could be dads, grandparents, aunts. So we just want to provide that to other individuals so their kids can flourish.
And you bring up a good point, because way back when, even before I came up, we hear stories that the community helped raise children, the neighborhood helped raise children. That if a child did not have something, or a family didn't have something, that community, that neighborhood block, that neighborhood would come together to make sure. And we've kind of lost that
Yes.
along the way, and it's kind of been whittled down from generation to generation. And so these parents who would otherwise, or these single caretakers of these children, whether they're parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, sometimes brothers and sisters, where they could rely on the neighborhood to keep the family structure whole. We don't have that, and they're relying on organizations. And I'm proud to be have you here with us, because I think it's a worthy cause. And tell us how those who are listening to this can donate to your cause.
They can go to our website, dreamandDemand.com, and we have a donor box where they can donate. And they can also contact us at our email at contact@dreamandDemand.com and send us a message if they don't want to go through the donor box. And even if they want to donate services, it's not just monetary.
No, absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Ms. Johnson, for being on with us.
Thank you for having me.
We definitely keep on supporting, and want you to come on throughout the year to show us the progress and keep us up to date and the community up to date on how you're doing your thing in helping single parents, caretakers, and most importantly, helping out children.
Yeah, sure thing. Go follow us, Dream and Demand, on Instagram.
All right, so Miss Tessica, y'all got an event coming up. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we have a back to school giveaway, which will be giving out 2 items: a spray ground backpack and a $100 gift card to Kids Foot Locker.
All right. So how would folks get in this giveaway?
So what they'll need to do is they'll need to complete the form on which can be found in our Instagram bio. And it's a Google form. They fill out that form, but then they'll have to complete 3 other tasks.
And what's your Instagram?
Our Instagram is Dream in Demand.
Dream in Demand.
Yes.
And tell me, like, why is this so important to you?
Okay, so Dream in Demand is built on 3 foundational principles. So that's service, also connection, which we have a connection to single parent families, and also youth, a passion for youth. So we grew up in a 2-parent home, and we saw our parents do a lot of giving. Like, we grew up around a lot of service, whether it was just like giving to local shelters, St. Vincent de Paul. Every year, my mom would adopt a child off the Christmas tree. So we just have an innate ability to give to others. So that's the service driver. And then we also have that connection to single parent families. I'm currently a single parent family, and my sister was a single parent family at one point in time. So the work that we do is not just us giving, but we're connected to these individuals. We know what their needs are. We are compassionate about the work that we do, and we have empathy for them. And lastly, just a passion for youth. But I know it sounds cliche that the youth are the future, but it's the truth. These are going to be our future leaders, our military professionals. So we want to make sure that we are equipping them with the resources necessarily to go out and do their best.
Yeah, and these kind of programs for me is so important, right? Because everybody needs a little help, right? And you might hear just $100, but $100 is a lot for some people, right? Mm-hmm. That's the difference in a lot of different things. That's a difference in somebody being able to buy a backpack and feed themselves at night. Because when you're a single parent and you don't have all the money, you might choose to feed that kid before you feed yourself. So like I love this effort. Love what y'all are doing. And I want to like see y'all continue to do this and continue to grow. Like, what's some of the plans y'all got coming up?
So we do, again, we have our back to school giveaway. If you are watching this right now, please enter, please follow our social media page. But also we'll be having a coffee chat on October 11th. So that's where those people in the community who are interested in the work that we're doing, they get a chance to come and learn more about Dream in Demand. But we also want to welcome our community partners or potential community partners to come and participate as well. So we're looking for partners to come maybe serve on a panel to explain different resources or different initiatives in the community surrounding youth or single parents or those from disenfranchised or marginalized communities. And furthermore, we have organizational goals. So we want to develop a peer network made of single parent families. We also are planning on facilitating or hosting workshops based off of those partnerships. So we need partners for various reasons. And that's just a few of the things that we have planned. But again, it's all aligns with our foundational principles. We built our organization off those 3 key foundational principles that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, like, and I'm gonna say it so you don't have to. Baton Rouge can be unkind in the organizations, right? So if y'all see these sisters out there, like, try to help them, and if you can't help them, damn sure don't hurt them, right? And I love to see younger people actually jumping into this work, and folks not as old as Haley, right? Actually jumping into this work. So I'm excited to see where y'all going and what y'all gonna do, and just know that this platform is always open to you. Come back and promote whatever you got going on. But again, tell the folks how to follow you, how do they enter the giveaway that you got going on, and tell them one more time about your event.
Okay. So before I jump into that, I do want to give you all a few little statistics. So in East Baton Rouge Parish, 1 in 2 of the households are single parent family led. So this is definitely an organization that's needed. Our back to school giveaway, we will be holding that drawing on August 2nd, which is this upcoming Saturday. What you'll need to do is you'll need to follow us on Instagram at Dream in Demand, complete the form, which will be in our bio. The link for the completing that Google form will be in our bio. Like the giveaway post, and then tag 2 people in that post. So that's essentially 3 very simple things that you need to do. And we also have our coffee chat coming up October 11th. We can be reached at contact@dreamindemand.com, or you can simply just send us a message on Instagram.
Now hold on, you said something about a coffee chat. What is the coffee chat? Break that down for me.
So it's our coffee chat is going to be kind of like our introduction to the community. We want to have like a more intimate, a formal introduction to Dream in Demand. But we also want to bring various potential community partners in the community together so that we can have a discussion about anything involving youth, maybe resources, getting some experts in the room where they can maybe kind of address maybe the current landscape of single parenthood or youth initiatives, especially with all these changes at the federal level. I think we need to prepare for that. Fortunately, Dream in Demand was formed this year where we saw a lot of those changes in post-secondary, secondary education, and federal funding. So I think it's good that we get together, we plan, and we really kind of find out how we need to get these resources out to the families and what best will suit those in our community, because we have so many people doing great things, and we want to know what's really out there so we can best service these families.
And before we get to the wild and the wilder, right? You brought up a great point, right? That I want to kind of touch on. I think we glanced past, and that's the fact that Shannon is so much older than this woman, right? Does there need to be a special emphasis on consent when you're dating such a younger woman? Now, I don't get it. I'm gonna be honest with you, Haley. I don't like it, and I got kids that age, so I don't like that he's dating a woman that young to begin with. But hey, she's legal, to each his own. But I can't imagine dating somebody my kid's age, right? That's just something with me, right? But I know you're gonna hear both sides of that fence. But I don't like it. But should consent be something that is talked about more with somebody that young?
Talked about and being relegated to be illegal are 2 completely different things.
Okay.
And so, no, I don't think the age of consent should be raised based on these high-profile cases. Because I'm sorry, if you're able to go off into war for your country and kill or be killed for your country to protect your country both abroad and here, you should be eligible to do anything. Frankly, I think they should lower the ages of a lot of other things based on if you had the ability to go die for your country at the age of 18, there ain't nothing you should be able to do. Now, if you want to raise the age of somebody to go die for your country, well, then we talk about raising the ages for other things. But I think that gives too much of a, sticky ground. Morally, listen, to each his own. I'm not one to judge someone's morals. However, I do think that each situation, each relationship should be judged at its own relationship. That you shouldn't measure this person's relationship when there's a vast age difference versus this other person where there's a vast age difference, because they're not apples to apples. Sometimes they're not even the same food group.
Mm-hmm. And I got that, man, and I appreciate that response. And I'm gonna put this out on the internet to see what people think, to see what their opinions are on it. But when we look at, teachers gone wild, essentially, and I'm gonna let you break that down. Tell us about the teacher and the mayor, Haley.
Man, listen, we have seen so many times on social media, some of the 3 or 4 websites that I really frequent every day. One of them seems to always post a female teacher getting in trouble for having sexual relations with a male student who was not of the age to give consent, regardless of the fact that he may or may not have wanted to engage in these sexual encounters. And it goes back to the power dynamic, right? We laugh. I'm not saying everyone laughs. I don't want to get, 15, 20, or 30, messages saying, no, it's not funny, it's not funny, it's not funny. But it seems readily it's easier to stomach if you see a 31-year-old woman having relations with a 16-year-old boy than it is a 31-year-old man having relations with a 16-year-old female. And listen, we all, well, you've been in locker rooms, shit. I wasn't good enough to play sports past middle school, but oh man, such a teacher's fine. Oh man, I wish I could do, this and that. If something came out that something happened with your teammate and such a teacher, guess what? It's high fives. Oh man, that shit's really cool. It becomes the other way. It's more of a problem. However, I think and we get to this later on in the conversation. I think the problem is equally as devastating, whether or not you have a older woman in a position of power. That's another thing to understand. We're not talking about in those dynamics where this 16-year-old and this 31-year-old happen to be at a restaurant and one hollered and flirted at the other. Right? We're talking about there's a power dynamic when you're talking about being a teacher or supervisor at a school and these things happen. And how that affects not only that child, but how that child engages in relationships going forward. But Eugene, it's not just teachers.
No, it's not just teachers. It's the mayor. We're gonna jump to that too. But Haley, let me tell you, like, when it comes to sexual assault by a woman to a young man, we sometimes glance over that, but don't realize that the effects can be as devastating, if not worse, right?
Because we think that I'm gonna put it to you better. We ain't call him young man. The older male child would have wanted it because he's sneaking and getting in daddy's Playboys when you didn't have it on internet, or he's sneaking and having porn on his phone, and he is so curious and anxious about sex that, hey, if that happens, he probably wanted it.
And let me say this, Haley, and people don't realize this, right? And men are probably not going to be honest about it because we're taught that you shouldn't talk about it, or it makes you some kind of way if you think that it's bad. But honestly, man, I know a lot of womanizing men that are that way because they were sexually assaulted as a teen by an older woman, or they were sexually assaulted as a kid by an older woman. and that sex drive just got ramped up at a very early age, right? And nobody ever really dealt with it. And you can't bring stuff like this to your family and say, hey, this person did that, that person did that, because depending on where you're at, you know,
You got a whole different reaction.
You got a whole different reaction.
It could be let me protect. It'll be push you out there to keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
Playboy.
And let me clear that up. I'm not saying that every womanizing man got sexually assaulted, but I'm saying a lot of them did. A lot of them did. And that's not making excuses for nothing like that, but I'm telling you, like, this is a real thing that happens, and men actually deal with it. And there isn't a space for men to go talk about them being sexually assaulted and how it's still affecting their life or affecting their marriage or their relationships at 45 years old. Like, that stuff really happens. So this stuff is more impactful than we believe. And I can tell you this: if you touch my daughter or my underage son, you going to jail. I don't care. I don't care whether it's a boy or girl. You going to jail.
Should go to jail. But let me keep it right there, Eugene. And here's where what doesn't get talked about. What if your daughter, when she's of the age to date, because niece ain't ready to date yet.
No,
She ain't take it.
no.
No. We got a little bit of time.
Let's clear that up.
A little bit of time. Get a little bit of time. First boyfriend, first sexual encounter was it with this 28-year-old teacher.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of him.
But you don't know this, right? How does that shape his relationship and expectations for your daughter? And so I think that's what gets missed with this, is that, listen, if this 28, 30, 31, 40-year-old teacher is having sexual encounters with the 15, 16, 17-year-old boy, the chances are that 15, 16, 17-year-old boy is not dating or having sexual relationships with multiple 28, 30, 31, 40-year-old women. Mm-mm. He is going to prom with his 16-year-old girlfriend, his 17-year-old girlfriend, his 18-year-old girlfriend, his 15-year-old girlfriend. They're going to homecoming, prom, they're wearing formals together. And it creates an unrealistic expectation upon that relationship.
Yeah, and I just kind of briefly spoke to that. It makes all the future relationships for that young man more challenging.
And not just for him, but for the women they come across, or the girls he come across.
A little bit of both. Like, because it's like I've been around men that have disclosed that they were sexually assaulted at 13, 14, right?
Now, did they say they were sexually assaulted?
What you mean?
We know this from our work experiences that it's called sexual assault. Mm-hmm. But do those men now realize at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old that this was really sexual assault, or they just got some from an older woman?
No, I'm gonna tell you, like, when men talk about this, they'll say, well, hey, this older chick or this older woman messed with me. They won't, and it's usually always that she messed with me, right? And you always know what that means. And as men, that's kind of a cold word, like mess with or something like that. So she messed with me, you already know what it is, and you know not to dig too deep. But you can see that these men still have problems at the later ages because of this experience, right? And there's nobody to stop and actually deal with that. And you can go through failed relationship after failed relationship after failed relationship where this man didn't have the ability or capacity to be faithful. But that whole sexual assault thing, I'm telling you, it weighs heavy on the psyche of a man, and it can carry deep into their late 40s, early 50s, 60s. It can weigh on them. Like, so we got to be as protective of our young men as we are of our young women. And it's like you said earlier, sometimes we'll look at a young man being sexually assaulted as a joke, and it's not. You can really fuck a kid up with that.
Man, I think it's almost as more devastating from a residual standpoint for a young male, a older male child to be messed with, as you said, than the woman, or the young female, or the older female
Yeah.
Here's what I mean by that. If you, typically speaking, and it's not everyone, it's not across the board, you have a teenage girl that starts dating older men at a young age while she's under the age of consent. Chances are she's rarely going back down.
Yeah. No, she's not going back down.
She's staying up at that level. Mm-hmm. And so the residual effect, and it's unfortunate, it's mostly on her in the relationships that she did not have or get to experience. When it comes to the boys get there, but you're typically not shooting your shot in the stars. You're not shooting your shot and staying with 28, 30, 35, 40-year-old women at the age of 17. No, you're still playing with your same age group. We're saying now you're taking the things that you've learned there and you are influencing potentially every girl, 17, 16, 15-year-olds that you've encountered with the things that you've learned or have been influenced by this older person.
I agree, Haley, and that's the fear in all of this, is that you really are forcing young people to grow too fast. You're forcing them to develop too fast. You're forcing their minds to go too fast. And as an adult, if you mess with a kid, you're really a fucked up person. I wish death upon you. I wish the worst type of death upon you. I hope you get hit by a car and people don't find you and ants eat you alive. It's just messed up to really mess up a kid's life like that. When you can find sex on any corner, you don't have to do that. So I really have no patience for sexual offenders, rapists, molesters. Like, I think they all deserve a horrible death doing that kind of crap to people. And Haley, talk about this mayor though.
Listen, man, we think Florida is the place of the wild shit.
Florida pretty wild.
And I don't think we got Florida yet. Hope we never get to Florida. But Louisiana, we got some shit.
We're on our way.
And in North Louisiana, there's a mayor, a former mayor, that was arrested and removed from office, removed or resigned, forget which one, for having sex with a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah, and I saw that, right? And that brings up the whole concept that we talked about, right? And when you look at that, like, adults, we just gotta know better than that, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been out with people and they'll be like, man, look at that person, and I look at them and I'm like, that's a child, and I stopped hanging out with those people after that, right? Because you should know a child and you should know what you can't do. And folks that don't know how to not cross that line, man, they deserve to be removed from office. They deserve to be jailed. Like I said, they deserve to be ran over, threw in a ditch, and ate by ants. You're messing with a kid's life.
And this you'll have I have a lot of issues with that particular case. But, man, like, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but in this time, there is. How are you as a mayor put yourself in a position to even be accused of something like this?
And Haley, I don't really believe that when you catch somebody molesting a kid or sexually assaulting a young person, that's their first time.
No.
I think this is something they've done. I think this is something they've done before. I think this is something they've gotten away with.
Especially older in life.
Yeah, I think they're sick. Right? So with this mayor, everything that I said before kind of applies here too, right? Ants, car,
honey,
ditch. Yeah, like, you gotta know that's not right. You gotta know that you shouldn't do that to children. Children today in 2025, they got so much to deal with. Why add that bull crap on top of it? So, Haley, I'm glad we talked about that. And as we run short on time here, I wanted to jump into Trump's NIL executive order. Now, Donald Trump seemed like he getting involved in everything except what he need to be. And I know this college thing around the NIL, has been a hot button topic, and you have some people that believe that this is ruining college football, right? But I ask, should college football as it sit at the time, I'm talking about the 90s, where you had colleges making hundreds of millions of dollars off these athletes, and these athletes can barely feed themselves.
And get in trouble for accepting the blazer.
College athletics needed to change. It needed to be blown up. And now what I see Trump doing is trying to put it somewhat back to where it was, right? And I think this is just falls in line with the bull crap he's been doing, protecting the rich and continually oppressing those that don't have.
I'm going to take it one step deeper, Eugene. This is about putting more value on intellectual equity versus sweat equity.
Okay.
There's no salary cap on intellectual equity.
None.
Mr. Zuckerberg can make as much money
Yep.
as he could while in college. Way more, I'm sure, than these college athletes are making right now.
Yep.
When he founded Facebook. And guess what? He should have. This ain't saying that there should be a salary cap of Mark's dollars. But nobody's rushing to put a salary on intellectual equity. But we're talking about athletics. That's sweat equity. Why must we put a salary cap on that? Let the market determine what these athletes are able to make from college and the pros. Right? If LSU wants to pay the next combination of Michael Vick, Peyton Manning, and Lamar Jackson $30 million to guarantee them 3 national championships, regardless of whether they get it or not, and they decide to do it, the market calls for that. But the idea that only athletes, sweat equity, and we can take it deeper into non-athletics, right? The fact that we value in this country, scratch that, Gene, the jobs that have little to no salary cap in this country are intellectual equity jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any sweat equity job, there's a cap on what you can make. You can make a lot of money. Eugene, you can make a lot of money being the foreman at Shell.
And
You can make a lot of money being the supervisor.
Let's keep it real, though, Haley. This is going to affect young black athletes, because when you look at the sports that are getting the major NIL deals, right?
Basketball and football.
Basketball and football, and this is affecting young black athletes. I think one, people do want certain schools or certain demographics to always be in a certain space, right? And the NIL balances that. A Dion can go to Colorado and thrive because guess what? He can bring NIL money there. So the kid that didn't want to go up in them cold mountains 10 years ago, like, they might say, well, shoot, I'll get me a jacket. You know what I'm saying? if the right things are attached. So it's adding balance and equity to a sport that didn't always have it, right? And one thing that we have seen with Trump throughout is that he hates balance and equity. He said, let's make America great again, right? But his definition of when America was great was a time period that was very bad and oppressive for a certain group of people. So every policy that I see Trump lining up with is still to oppress a certain group of people. And that group of people sometimes don't even realize we're together, right? Because I look at black and brown as the same, right? Because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Now we can get down into the debate of like the problems we got, but I think there's a different conversation.
But not just that, Gene. Listen, he doesn't like poor people.
Yeah,
he doesn't like the middle class.
There you go.
It's not about just black and brown versus white. It's a class war, not a race war. And I think the dog whistles that are put out there meant to divide us.
But he got the poor whites food, so I'm starting to stop caring about them. He got the poor whites
you gotta listen, man. We got to care about the people.
I got you.
We have to care about the people. And in fact, yeah, he may have a segment of the population full thinking that they can grab the American dream even though he had a $50 million head start in his American dream. Talking about I built this from nothing. No, you built this with a sack of $50 million in ones to start your empire. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with somebody leaving you generational wealth to improve upon that. However, we talk about Trump, and I think this is important when we talk about perception versus reality. I'm gonna tell you how, in my opinion, how he got here. When we were coming up in the 80s, who did you think? 1989. I was 8 years old. Eugene, that'll put you 6.
Yeah, something like that.
Look, let me push it up a little bit. Say 1992. Home Alone came out. Home Alone 2 came out.
Loved it.
Loved it. The scene in at Trump Tower, that's where Macaulay Culkin is staying for the week while his parents left him. I don't know if they're in France or Miami or whatever. And Trump had a scene in there. At that point in time, who did you think was the richest person in the world?
Donald Trump.
Me too. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. We thought when you look at where the fights were at, Mike Tyson fights, 4 times a year. If it's not in Vegas, it's at Trump and Atlantic City.
Yep.
Hosted many of the fights. WrestleManias, many of them at Trump's resorts. And his name was up there. He sold America on his own greatness. When truth be told, during that time, Trump may not have been the 100th richest person in New York.
Man, Trump is one of the greatest promoters ever to live. Like he could sell ice in a snowstorm, right?
I give him that.
And you can't take that away from him. He got that done.
I mean, literally told Oprah that if I ever ran for president, I run as Republicans. They're too stupid to not vote for me.
And then he got elected as a Republican after saying that, right? Man, there's a lot of things about Trump you have to respect. I don't like him, but it's a lot of things about Trump you have to respect. And it's his ability to market it. His ability as an orator, his ability to know who his target group is, and
Mount Rushmore marketing.
Yeah, he's that.
Mount Rushmore marketing, not Mount Rushmore presidents,
But
or people, or peacemakers, but marketing.
Yeah, and I know we got to close out here, but I like what Russia told him recently, right? When he started talking about he gonna give Russia 10 to 12 days, and Russia responded like, "Hey, we ain't Israel or Iran." Let's just get that clear. I'm not the one or the two. I like that. Y'all can feel how y'all want about Russia, but I like that Russia said that. Like, somebody need to put him in his place. But just let Mr. Putin know I ain't got nothing to do with that. The good black folks over here ain't necessarily got a problem with Russia. We don't know nothing about over there, and most of us ain't never been over there. So, like y'all are good with us. So if y'all come over here, start with Trump and his supporters first. Don't come to us, right? Haley, any closing thoughts?
Man, I'm excited where this is going to go. Second episode, close thoughts to this. Third episode coming on soon. Hot and heavy. Let's hope that none of our cars break down.
Mm-hmm.
And it riots. Okay, we don't put that.
I feel like we got to get Bowie on this mic pretty soon.
We need to get Bowie on the mic.
We got to get Bowie on the mic pretty soon.
So I'll say this. Last thoughts. I'm excited about where we're going. I believe this opportunity that we have to show an unfiltered side of ourselves is cathartic for both of us, but also gives the public a different version of us that's not hinged to a client or a cause, but the things that we believe in. And lastly, I hope that your car is good the next time.
Yeah.
My car is good next time. And if we need luck on a third episode for a car to break down, let's hope with Ryan Poyer's.
Yep. And, I'm going to close out with saying this. Dear Russia, if you need any help identifying Trump supporters, come holler at me. Come holler at me. I live right there in Schuylerville. Come holler at
Schuylerville.
me. Yeah, come holler at me, Russia.
I was not in Monroe, and I do not live in Schuylerville.
I will point them out to you. And if you have any trouble identifying them, anybody with anything on that says MAGA, Start with them first, right? Start with them first and work your way down. If they got on red, make them last. But if they got MAGA in red, start with them. All right.
Now I wear red, dog. Come on, don't be a bitch ass nigga, dog.
Yeah, hey, if they have red and mixed with a little white,
That don't even work either. You see, look what you doing. Look what you doing. Look what you doing.
If they got red with a little mixed with a little white, put them last. Still get them, but put them last.
Dog, the MAGA hat has red and white in it. Oh, you're not helping.
Oh, my bad, bro. My bad. Oh, okay. If they have Kappa, let's just say Kappa, put them last. I ain't saying don't get them. Put them last, because some of them too, they be over there with that MAGA stuff. Some of them, some, not all of them, but some of them. But just the best thing, just come get me and I'll point them out to you. Yeah.
See y'all next week.
See y'all next week.